Hey, it's Holly. In today's video, I am going back to my restoration roots of this channel, and I am going to be retrobrighting some more compacts and playsets. So if you saw my previous video about my different attempts to remove sun damage, one was a wet sanding technique, and then I did a retrobrighting technique, which uses hydrogen peroxide to basically bring the original color or close to back to the sets. Really interesting technique, and I wanted to try it again and try it now that we have a little bit more sunlight. So I'm going to be showing you a few different sets that I'm working on, including my fun time clock, which if you saw that video, you know how sun damaged that one is. So we're gonna jump into this and see how we do. So let's get started. If you watched my previous video on my fun time clock, you probably recognize this. This is supposed to be blue, but it's not. It's green, and that's the original color. So this one's quite damaged on the sides and on the back. The front's not too bad, but it's otherwise quite damaged. The next set that I'm looking at is this one, and it's not too bad. It's nice and pink on this side, but you can see how over here it's kind of orange. And it really just needs some help up on this top edge. And then here, this is a hair playset, and just this side, it's so sun damaged over here. It's turned a bit orange again. So I'm looking at changing that with the retrobrighting. And then last but not least, this is a shell compact. This is the Nancy's Wedding Days set, and it's a light pink, but oh my goodness, is it ever sun damaged on the side. So we're gonna see what we can do. All right, so safety first, friends. Make sure you have protective eyewear and protective gloves. So if you saw my previous video, you know that I made some Retrobright gel, and you can check out my previous video for instructions on that. But effectively, I am taking my pre-made gel and mixing in OxyClean. This is what sets off the chemical reaction. So in order for the gel to be shelf stable, you have to keep the OxyClean out of it and mix it in just before you use it. So that kind of foams up a bit, and over time in the video, you'll see it gets whiter and whiter. And I'm going to be applying this with a paintbrush. First up is the shell compact. So it is so orange. I'm just applying some of that gel just to the part that is sun damaged. And sorry for some of the camera work. I just wanted to make sure I was getting it right in the right spot there. Once it's done, I'm wrapping it with saran wrap or cling film. This is just to keep the paste a bit moist, and that helps with the process. Okay, so that one is ready for some UV light. Next is the hair playset case, and again, this one just had damage on the top and underneath the hinge. So I'm again just applying the gel to the area that needs it. And as you can see, not too much, but just that side. Again, wrapping it up, cling wrap, saran wrap, whatever you call it. And then that one is ready for the sun too. Okay, now this one again, this one's not too bad, but that one corner is just a bit orange. So again, just getting some of that premixed gel, putting it just on the areas that look a little oranger. And then once that is applied and I'm happy with it, I'm then just going to wrap that up. And last but not least, here's my fun time clock. And you can see it's like it's green. It's just this horrible green color. And if you look on eBay, you'll see they're like almost all of them are this horrible green color. I guess because they probably sat on dressers near windows, but sorry that a lot of this is out of frame. But I'm just, again, coating it with the gel carefully in the areas that it is damaged, which is pretty much the whole thing except the bottom and the front. There is a little bit of sun damage on the front, so I'm just carefully getting just the areas that had it, but yikes, like this one is just so green. I'm floored at how green it was. So we're getting this one all wrapped up and ready for some sunshine. Okay, so now we have them out in the sun. So in my previous video, I used a combination of sun and UV lamp. In this video, you'll see I'm only using sunshine, and that's because we finally have some sunny weather here and we're taking advantage of it. Also, these are a little bit bigger and they won't really fit inside my nail lamp, so we're using sunshine. Now, after some time outside, it did work, but it kind of dried up. Even with the saran wrap, it just helped prolong it. But what I wanted to do then at that point was just add some more gel before rewrapping it and putting it back out into the sun. So it's just a matter of processing all of these one more time. And you may have to do this a few times depending on the set and how damaged it is. But these all needed a little bit more time. It's also good to check in the process and just make sure that you're not overdoing it. If one looks close, then you know that you're not going to leave it out for very much longer. Okay, so these are all wrapped up. Time for some sunshine. Okay, so I have these wiped down and cleaned up, and look at the difference. So it's still not blue, and honestly, I don't think I can get it much further. Just looking at the way the color's coming out, I don't want to push much further. But it looks pretty darn good. I mean, it looks a lot better than it did before, for sure. Now, before you start going, Holly, you wiped off half the logos. What are you doing? Don't worry, I have a plan. I'll talk about that in a minute. But look how good this pink one came out. Unbelievable. It almost looks perfect. There is just the slightest bit of damage under the hinge here, but it's really hard to know. You basically have to know it's there to see it. Next up is the shell. Again, I don't think I can get it much further than this. This one was really damaged. It was so dark before, but it's pretty good. And I mean, you'll notice it, but again, you kind of almost have to know to look for it. And we're in a well-lit area now, but otherwise it's quite hard to see it. And last but not least, this one turned out really well. I'm so happy with it. It is nice and warm again, and not that sort of orangey reddish color that it had turned. Okay, so back to the logo bit. So my plan here is I found out what the original technique was when these were manufactured to make that logo gold. And yes, it's wiped off, but my plan here is effectively to get this stuff that it's called hot stamp foil, and that's how you get that perfect shiny mirror-like gold finish. So I press it on, use some heat to apply it, and peel it off, and I'm going to be doing that in a future video so that you can see what that whole process looks like from start to finish. But don't worry, I'm coming back to this logo. Okay, so that was our retrobrighting for this week. So what do you think of the results? I was joking to my husband, they're probably gonna think that I just swapped these out, some of them. This one came out so good, and I'm so excited about that. And after a little polish, just amazing finish. It looks amazing. I'm so happy with it. So let me know what you think. Are you going to try this on some of your sets? Have you tried it before? I'm kind of obsessed with retrobrighting, to be honest. Now, again, always be a little bit careful with this because you can go too far. You definitely can go too far. So you have to watch it carefully. But now that we're headed into summer, at least if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, might be a good opportunity to try this on some of your old vintage toys and try to get some of that sun damage out. I'm really excited that I found that technique. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. It helps way more than you know. And don't forget to like the video. If you're on Instagram, please come follow along over at Pocket Vintage Toys, where I give behind the scenes tours of my playsets as they show up to my house, as I receive them, and lots of other just discussion around restoration and tips and tricks with Polly Pocket stuff. So please come check that out. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.